Good morning, YouTube. Yeah, I've been watching too many movies. Constitutionality News here with another article. I thought I'd share with you. This one is a kind of a follow-up to a previous article I posted. The previous article was from June the 14th of this year. This one was posted by the same author, end of June, on June the 20th this year. It's entitled Arrested Developments, United States Constitutional Auditors. This was in the Sword and Paper. And he says, I recently witnessed a group of constitutional auditors get arrested live on a YouTube stream by the Leon Valley Police in Leon Valley, Texas. He says, I've been watching this movement closely because of the increasingly intense controversy surrounding constitutional auditor activities. In the course of my research and inspection of this movement, I've come to understand that the controversy partially stems from an ignorance, disregard, or misunderstanding of certain amendments of the United States Constitution on those being audited. Wonder how you come to that conclusion. Quite simply, it's true. Okay. What is a constitutional auditor? A constitutional auditor, often referred to as a First Amendment auditor, is an auditor that places themselves in situations where they are likely to be encountered by government officials, such as police and other law enforcement officers. This is true. The officials are tested on their ability to act within the limits of the laws of their particular state and to act in accordance with the Constitution of the United States of America. During these audits, people film police buildings and officers. Once contacted, they can become aggressive, challenging, and often seek to be detained by law enforcement while they are filming so they can post the video of the encounter online. Well, now, I don't know about that last part. I don't know of anybody that actually wants to get arrested. It just seems to happen that way. Anyway, he goes on. Constitutional auditors typically choose public photography as the primary means of testing the public official's ability to act lawfully in accordance with the U.S. Constitution, specifically the First Amendment. Well, we also get second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on in there occasionally. But yeah, primarily the First Amendment. Further controversy most likely arises from the fact that some auditors are, in my opinion, unnecessarily rude and disrespectful toward law enforcement officers. Well, now I would agree with him there. Occasionally it does happen. But in a lot of instances, the officers bring it on themselves. I mean, they shouldn't have even approached to start with, except through a call of service. And even then, they should see what's going on, say, hey, have a nice day, and drive on. But it almost never happens that way. Okay, back to the article. However, when this is the case, and unfair as it may seem, government officials operating in their official capacities as public servants must hold themselves to a higher standard and obey the laws to the fullest while performing their duties. Imagine if those guards at Buckingham Palace in England reacted to the provocations of every instigator that attempted to incite a reaction from them. It would be a catastrophe. Many people do not realize that the palace guards are not purely ceremonial and are fully functional soldiers, or fully operational soldiers. Interesting analogy, but very, very apt. Fits perfectly in what the police should be doing here. Unfortunately, in many instances, even in the absence of provocation, law enforcement officers in the United States frequently break the law and violate citizens' rights, either because of inadequate training or willful disregard for individuals' rights and the law. I agree, about 210%, especially on the inadequate training. But I have seen many, many videos where the police just, I don't care about the Constitution, I don't care about your rights, we're going to lock you up anyway. Enough said. On June 2nd, let me scroll up. On June 2nd, 2018, Caitlin Durbin writing for the Gazette, reported that two Colorado Springs police officers' confrontation with a man taking photographs outside a police substation is costing the city $41,000. I wonder why. Many other auditors behave in a way that is respectful, yet assertive at best, or otherwise appropriately irreverent. Mickey Osterreicher, an attorney and the general counsel for the National Press Photographers Association, said, "If you are in a public place where you have a legal right to be, the police have to have probable cause to believe that you are committing a crime. If you're doing nothing other than taking pictures, that in itself is a First Amendment protected right and does not constitute a crime. It can't be said any plainer than that." Thank you, Mickey. On the day that the auditors mentioned above were arrested, they were not simply conducting audits. They were actively protesting with a focus building up to burning the Leon Police Department's precinct flag, which they deemed to be a desecration of the American flag. In fact, some of the supporters of the Thin Blue Line and Cops Lives Matter may also consider the replicated flag in black, white, and blue to be an abomination. Well, I don't know about an abomination, but it's, well, in my opinion, it's definitely a desecration of the U.S. flag. And I think they should have to take it down. Now, personally, I'm from the South, and the rebel flag has caused major controversy down here. And it's been, well, I won't say forcibly, but the issue has been forced to the point where it's been removed from a lot of places, and it's considered derogatory now. If that's the case, why isn't this flag considered derogatory? It offends a hell of a lot of people, myself included. But that's enough about the flag. The fire ignites. At the time of the protest, there was a burn ban in effect in Leon Valley, and one of the protesters, James Freeman, insisted that they don't need to get arrested in order for their rights to be violated. He claimed that just being threatened with arrest and or being given other unlawful and unconstitutional orders would be sufficient to prove their point that this particular police department in Leon County, Texas, needed to address their persistent civil rights violations against the people. You go, James. I agree 100%. The protesters agreed not to burn the flag in view of the police to avoid violating the burn ban and risking arrest. So they burned the flag at an undisclosed site removed from the view of the police. They then returned to the entrance of a government facility where a courthouse and several police were located, with whom they had had previous encounters. In their possession was now the scorched remains of Leon Valley Police Department's Thin Blue Line flag. While in plain view of the officers, the auditor protesters taunted the officers with their desecrated flag by marching around, waving it and wiping their feet on it, amongst other insults. Just as the band of auditors were gaining momentum, a woman approached through the first of two sets of double doors leading into the building. As one of the protesters crossed in front of the second set of double doors, he also passed in front of the woman for a fraction of a second and said, "There you go, ma'am. Let her through. Sorry, ma'am. Have a good day." As soon as the police officers who were looking on in disdain saw this, one of them took the lead and quickly emerged from behind a service desk in the lobby, heading toward the protesters with several other officers following. As soon as he exited the lobby, he turned left to the offending bearer of the fallen flag and blurted, "You're under arrest for obstructing a passageway." I didn't know you could obstruct a passageway. I guess you can. Anyway, that's kind of a stupid order, just thug mentality is all I can say. Anyway, the group of officers swarmed everyone in the lobby, barking lawful orders, placing the activists under arrest and confiscating their camera equipment. The live stream video was abruptly ended, and we viewers were left wondering what would happen to our freedom fighters. A lot of us know what's going to happen to them, at least initially. Anyway, through the many live streams and video uploads from supporters and comrades that quickly followed as we held our collective breath, we would learn that one by one the protesters were being released, many with no charges being filed. A few of them suffered what could be perceived as additional counter-strikes by the police when they discovered that their vehicles had been towed by Bandits Towing, a company contracted by Leon Valley for their towing services. Mobile devices were still being held as evidence from a crime. Be quiet. There, can. Just read the article. City Hall meetings were attended and follow-up protests were planned. Now we have at least 2 Second Amendment auditors protesting at the site of the arrest. For those of you not familiar, this means that 2 protesters are exercising their right to bear arms by carrying their firearms out in the open. Some people may argue that there is no purpose to the audits and that they are ineffective. However, if you watch these auditors' videos with an open mind, or at least 100 of them leading up to this point, you will see that they are changing our society. Even though there is a long way to go and old, power-hungry, tyrannical habits die hard, police officers and other government officials are becoming more aware, as well as being trained on how to deal with the constitutional auditors. About time. Police are being trained more every day not to bother photographers, and I think the ignorance of police officers not knowing that it's legal to videotape will be a thing of the past very soon. I sincerely hope so, guys. Although I know of a couple of auditors who, well, let's just say they kind of try to get arrested so they can sue the police departments and cities, counties, whatever. The vast majority of them are out there just for educational purposes. They try to educate the public and the police and any other government officials they encounter along the way. But like everything else, you got to have a couple of, well, I won't say bad apples, but not everybody's out for the same thing. Back to the article. The constitutional auditing movement is still developing and maturing. Over time, as more and more encounters are documented and auditors from different areas cooperate, this movement will change momentum. Yeah, just think about how long it took for African Americans to get their civil rights back and what it took. Some of the sacrifices that were made. And even going back further, think about the women's suffrage movement. What did they have to go through just to get the ability to vote? Or in more recent times, equal rights for women in the workplace, etc. So yeah, it takes time. I agree, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Just be patient. It's going to be a very interesting to see how auditing styles develop from here. The dynamics between police and auditors, as well as how the relationships between police and other citizens evolve. Yeah, I'll agree. Anyway, he goes on to list a bunch of links down here, but I'm not going into that. I like the way this guy writes. I like what he writes. And it pertains to all the auditors out there. I want to get out there auditing myself, but got to get a little more equipment together for one. But anyway, I'll get there. Just be another week or two. Oh well. Sorry guys, I was reading something else. I apologize for that break there. Anyway, this is Constitutionality News. I found this article quite interesting and thought I'd share it. Hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Take care. Have a good day. Constitutionality News. I'm gone.